and the screen, so
Okay.
let me figure it out.
I guess I just can't see anything here, but all right. I'm gonna leave the meeting and come back and see if that helps. Okay. How's that?
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Sorry about the difficulties.
Things aren't so much rosier there in DC as it is here.
So, Chair,
Yours is above, ours is below.
good morning, Chair. Yes, public comment, I do have Mr. Danziger on.
Okay.
And what was the other, Commissioner Tremble had to step out for a few moments. He's hoping to be back in probably at any time.
All right, no problem.
Yep,
Well, we're past the hour. so-
we're ready to go when you
Yeah,
are.
ready to go. All right. Well, I will call the meeting together, and then when Commissioner Trumbull is able to join us, that will be fine. At this point, I would welcome everyone to the meeting of January 21st, 2025, following a rather interesting and momentous day where we saw a president reinstalled as a president for the second time. It's the only time that's happened in history in our lifetimes, and only twice in America's history. So it is somewhat momentous regardless of where people stand, and look forward to perhaps an opportunity where county government is recognized and supported strongly as we move forward and do our jobs. So with that, calling the roll, Commissioner Marshall.
Present,
Is Commissioner Tremble yet back with us?
not yet.
Not yet.
Not a problem. Mr. Treasurer?
Present.
And the chair is here. At this point, I would ask Commissioner Marshall if he'd be kind enough to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. I will move on from approval of the minutes till Commissioner Tremble is able to rejoin us. And we will, at this point, open public comment. I believe we may have one individual online who wishes to make public comment.
We have one online, is it?
Yes, Larry Danziger should be, I think I saw him there.
Mr. Danziger, if you are with us, you are welcome to proceed.
Now let's,
I think we're lining him up. Oh, there you go, Larry. Thank you.
I wonder if I could wait until the third commissioner is
yeah, he's
present.
present now.
On his way.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
He just got parole, so.
Yeah, if you would,
I did get pardoned yesterday.
Everybody else did, why not?
A lot of them going around, so you probably did.
Can't really pick sides on that one either.
so Mr. Tremble, it's noted you're here. Mr. Danziger is in public comment and wanted to give you the courtesy of waiting. We are ready to proceed with your comments, Larry.
Okay, thank you. I'm Larry Danziger. I live in Bangor. I'm in part responding to an article from a week or two ago regarding the county paying up to $2.5 million estimated in this next year for boarding out. And I know that might be the cost for boarding out, but it's not a total cost because it does not include the savings that the county receives by not housing individuals in the county jail. So I would like to know if I can get figures from either the sheriff or somebody in the county commissioner's office about the actual cost, which is less than $2.5 million this year at $100 a day cost. So I would appreciate getting that actual information.
Okay, Mr. Danziger, I'm going to ask you to submit an email clarifying.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. I was intending to do that.
Thank you.
And there are several other questions regarding, for example, the potential opioid settlement money, whether any of that has been committed to specific projects or not. And I will request that through an email as well. And also, in addition to that, I believe it's really important for the county to have some demographic information about who's in the jail and what impact the jail has on those individuals while in jail and outside the jail. And I will also submit a list of questions regarding demographics of individuals that are in Penobscot County Jail, because I think it's important not only for my information to know that, but also for county commissioners and the sheriff and the DA and hopefully also judges and others in this process to have that kind of information. So, for example, how many are pretrial? How many have families or children as opposed to individuals? And what that impact, there was no way of knowing exactly what that impact is, but at least knowing how many, for example, partners or children that are impacted by the fact that they're in jail. That's kind of demographic information that I think even a commissioner is proposing a new jail, which we think is not a good idea, but even in any case, that kind of information is important. So I'm going to be requesting a lot of that kind of information, hoping that commissioners and the sheriff and the DA and others can help in collecting that information. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for the email. We will get back to you promptly with what any cost would be to accumulate the information as provided. Are there others who wish to make comments that are in the audience with us? And there's no one else online that is prepared to make comments?
No, Chair.
Okay.
If I may, if I could quickly address one item, I think it's a rather highly inaccurate statement to make with regards to any savings from boarding. We can certainly send that number, but just for the public's awareness that not only are there not any savings, but what you're not attaching to this number are the additional costs, and also the inability for effective programming by boarding out inmates. So.
Thank you.
Mr.
I'm sure the sheriff would like to make comment. Mr. Trimble.
I would just add to what the administrator said. I think under the FOIA law, when we're asked for documents, we can provide documents of things we have, but we're not required to go create documents for people. So this isn't an item that we have, what the savings, because that's subjective if there's any savings at all. I think what Mr. Danziger is saying is if we've got 160 inmates and what the cost to operate the jail is, he can divide that into the 160 and the cost of jail, and he can add those boarded prisoners out, and that's his assumption that this is savings, a cost to that, but we couldn't do it because we don't have the capacity, so it's a hypothetical question, really. It's not something we're required to provide. The individual, the taxpayer, needs to do their own research for things that don't exist.
Yeah, well, I'll only add that we will only respond to appropriate inquiries for FOIA requests and reiterate that we don't create things.
Which we do, we appropriately respond. We had a pretty trained crew. Yeah, thank you for the comments.
Mr.
Commissioners.
Chair, at this point, do we want to go back and do the approval of the minutes?
Well,
Please.
just a minute, I had somebody else who had raised the point, I think. No? Okay. Yes, we do. At this point, though, if there are no further public comments, I will close the public comment. We will then revert to approval of the minutes for the January 7th, 2025 meeting. I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the minutes of January 7th.
I have a
Second.
motion and I have a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Chair says aye. Okay, at this point, I believe the DA's office is present and would be able to present to us.
Yes.
Like to come forward, Christine?
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Welcome,
Morning.
Commissioner
Thank
Council.
you.
So my time here is short and sweet. I'm just asking for approval of transfers for some criminal forfeiture cases. I can go through the names and the amounts if you like, however you want me to present those.
So you currently have, as I see, a spreadsheet there. If you would just like to summarize that, and I think it'd be appropriate for us to perhaps do it in one motion unless there's objection.
Certainly. I'm not sure, I don't have the listing, so I'm just going to go with the cases I have. First one is State of Maine versus James Manning for $971. Oh, I got a spreadsheet now. Sorry, thank you. I'll start off with Tristan Melanson. We're requesting 15% of $3,130. Second one is Kyle Roach and Deborah Bashaw. It's $8,085, and they're co-defendants, so it's one sum of money. Next one is Joshua Tao, State of Maine versus Joshua Tao, 15% of $1,122. Next one is State v. James Manning for 15% of $971. Next one is State v. David Bennett, 15% of $770. Next one, State v. Tara Koplovich, 100% going to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Department with nothing going to the DA's office because of the amount of $408. And the last one is State v. Tristan Melanson, 85% going to the Penobscot County Sheriff's Department, and 15% going to the District Attorney's Office. And that sum is $3,130.
Okay, that appears different than what I have on my sheet here.
Sorry, I was going by the thing. Which one was different, Commissioner?
Well,
Sorry.
I see a total that I believe goes to the DA of $2,111.70.
No, that's on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is correct. The 3130, Commissioner, is that she was referencing the total for Melanson.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Total.
no, that's quite all right. So we'll take it separately, the DA versus the sheriff's office. So I would entertain a motion regarding the total sum from these cases that would be transferred to the DA's forfeiture account.
I move we approve the forfeiture transfers.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yeah, and then we also have the matter of the Penobscot County
Oh,
Sheriff's
Sheriff's
Office.
Department. I'm sorry. I was anxious to get back to work.
Just in case.
So my understanding is we're looking at a total of $3,068.50.
Correct.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move we approve the $3,068.50 transfer to the Sheriff's Department.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? I guess my only question, Christine, and I assume that the balance of the money that was in the state cases reverts to the state of Maine? The 85% for those cases that you mentioned?
Right, goes to the department that originally charged the person with the crime.
Okay.
So City of Bangor, City of Brewer, City of Dexter, I believe, are the other departments involved.
Well, it's nice to see it remaining with where the work is being done.
Yes.
With that, I will enter, well, we have the motion and no further discussion.
Seconded.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye. Just a
Aye.
question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead. Sure.
I know generally what the sheriff's department spends their forfeiture money on, but what type of items does DA's office buy? Office equipment and stuff like that?
Typically, what we've been using it for is for conferences.
Attending,
Deputy District Attorney Chelsea Lynn is going to a couple of conferences this year, and we pay for that out of the criminal forfeiture account to save on our budget.
That's good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything further, Christine? No? All right. Thank you for your time.
Nope.
Appreciate
It's
it.
a crazy morning in the office, busy day.
Imagine.
The
Thank
DA
you.
at 7, he looked a little frozen this morning. I hope he's doing better.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. At this point, are we ready for Mr. Froman?
Yes.
County Fire and EMS Regionalization Project Update.
I think she's lining Paul up now.
All right. And I think Mr. Trumbull is aware that Mr. Froman came on to assist with the Central Maine Highlands Fire District. He did some very good work, built a good rapport there, and has continued for a 6-month period with us. Is working on some very positive steps that other municipalities in the county are looking towards. I think, as we've discussed before, this effort to help communities work together in areas that they can collaborate on is going to be critical going forward to meet some of the challenges we face in properly delivering the services and also having the mutual working relationships that I think are going to make us all more valuable in doing our job for the citizens of the county.
We ready for motion?
I didn't know if you wanted to wait until after the presentation to,
Well, is Dr. Pullman here?
yes, we're working, oh, there he is.
Yeah, I didn't see him in the.
I apologize, I was not able to attend in person today.
Thanks for joining us, Paul, and we will give you the floor now to update us on your progress with some of the other communities in the county and any other valuable information you have to share.
So real quickly, it's been about 5 months going into where I was brought in to help with collaboration of any fire and EMS resources within Penobscot County. Pretty much from day one of being brought back on board to continue this project, Scott Atkins sent out a message to all municipal leadership, and the response was relatively rapid in people requesting to meet city managers, fire chiefs, to start having some dialogue just what the future may be for some kind of collaboration. Since that time, I have met with probably over 20 agencies or communities in total that have at least some interest in the conversation. There is still a lot of, I would say resistance is the word, but some caution in what that future may bring with collaboration. But I have been able to establish a decent foothold, at least with interested communities coming together to talk, which I think is a huge first step over the last 5 months. So I've continued to help with Central Maine Fire and EMS District Number 1 as far as they're about 5 months of operation now. And they're in their first budget cycle. So this will be an interesting first step for the organization as really the first time since they've been established, having to go through this budget process that they've established and having to work with all the communities. I've had commitment to have conversations with several communities. So in Southern Penobscot County, there are 2 separate groups that are meeting, and I've met a couple times. No firm commitment, but they're willing to have the conversation and what at least having the dialogue to what having joint fire and EMS services would look like. And then I have a couple more that are pending that would like to meet. We just haven't been able to schedule a time yet for that area. And then one other thing that I'd like to mention is with a few of the communities, we're actually working on being able to apply to some grant funding through Maine EMS for the purposes of looking at regionalization. Hopefully recoup some of the costs that the county has been paying me to do some of this work. That's kind of a brief update of where we are. If there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to dive into them.
Any questions from the commissioners?
No, I just want to point out that we're waiting here, the East Millinocket area are looking forward to working with you. We're waiting for the confirmation of the extension of the contract. And I will mention that at the commissioners' conference recently, during the course of the discussion, many of the counties are running the same problems we are, the cost of EMS services. And Lincoln County and others have responded very inquisitively about the success we have made to date, particularly as it references the Central Maine Highlands District, which is the first of its kind in the state. And we're all in the same boat, and we think that your services that you provide are going to be in high demand. And I'm looking forward to having you meet with our people up in northern Penobscot County to see how we might address this problem.
I would just add what Commissioner Marshall commented about the MCCA meeting. There's, I think, a lot of concern as the OSHA regulations go into effect that a lot of volunteer fire departments are going to be hard pressed to be able to continue as a volunteer fire department. So I think there's going to be increased need for regionalization. But just a question on this Highlands District, is this just set up with local agreements, or is there some enabling legislation that was passed? Are they fire districts or just local agreements to create this Highlands District?
No, Central Maine's Highland is a formalized fire district. They're a quasi-governmental agency that's a nonprofit that has taxation ability. That's already through Title 30A 164, I think off the top of my head, that was established in the early 90s to allow for fire and EMS districts. So it's already present legislation which allowed them to be established.
Yeah, the authorization was, the state authorization was passed in 1990, but it's been this entire time that nothing had happened until the establishment of the first, and it's 30 years after it, or 25 years after the authorization. But I think given the circumstances that we all find ourselves in, that is going to be a direction that a lot of communities are going to look forward to, reviewing that option for them.
There's a lot of interest, but I'd say it's I don't want to say it's sensitive, but it's one that has to kind of be negotiated. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of emotions when it comes to community services, such as the fire department and EMS agencies. So there's a lot of interest. It's just going to take a little bit more negotiating and navigating to kind of get communities to where they need to be for this. But I'm excited. I'm very excited actually with the progress that's happened and the possibility that there's going to be some better collaboration to provide better services, which has been the number one goal that everybody says is we want quality services that can get to people in a realistic amount of time to provide fire and EMS services.
Well, if I could ask a request. I think both in Penobscot County and now in my role as president of the Maine Municipal Association, we're going to actively pursue opportunities to support this throughout the state. As you may be aware, York has a fire administrator that they hired last year, I believe it was, to help coordinate things for fire departments there. Cumberland County is providing assessing services. Aroostook is looking into code enforcement services. We've done some collaborative effort on animal control. I would ask if you would be willing to maybe prepare a report and interact with some of the folks from the Central Maine Highlands District who were involved in just kind of writing a synopsis that we could publish and provide to other communities as they are going down this pathway to consider collaborative work.
Oh yeah, I believe that's something I can look into and work with Mr. Atkins and
Right.
see what we can come up with from a county perspective.
Yeah, and I can offline, we can talk and I can kind of fill in some of the details of what I'm thinking here. I think there's sincere interest among a lot of my colleagues at the county Commissioners Association as to how we did this and you know, particularly the mechanics of the memos and the bylaws that were covered and the legal work that we supported through Penobscot County for this effort, as well as your good services. So it would be kind of an educational piece as I see it to take out to share with other people. We have town meetings that are coming up in various parts of the state over the spring and midsummer. So I think having that to start the discussion would be helpful.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else as far as questions, or would we be ready to consider a 6-month extension so Mr. Foreman could continue his work on behalf of Penobscot County?
I'm prepared, yes.
Okay, I would
Yes.
entertain a motion.
I would move that motion.
Go ahead.
Second.
All right. So I have a motion and a second to extend Mr. Froman's contract with us at Penobscot County. For, the funding, I believe, would come from G2 99618, which is the LATCF funds that we received additionally from the federal government related to the unorganized territory that is part of the Woods and Water Monument. I think expenses for the 6-month period, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Adkins, are around $45,500.
That is correct, yeah. Yes, Chair.
So this would be a weekly stipend plus travel expenses for Dr. Fleming to continue. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Thank
All
you,
right,
Paul.
thank you.
Appreciate your help and your good work, and we look forward to talking to you on this further.
Thank you, commissioners. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Doc.
Next up will be our UT team, Director Buswell and Deputy Morrison.
Morning.
Good morning.
First agenda item is a pretty simple one. We've been working with Old Town Transfer Station to handle any bulky waste and recycling goods over that way, not our solid waste, for Argyle and Greenfield, both townships. It's been a good working relationship. The last 3-year contract was up, and through negotiations, we've been able to, the only increase we're going to see is a natural CPI increase, which is new to this contract. Last contract was a solid price with no CPI increase for $1,000. But it's been great working with them, and we're glad they're continuing to work with us and our residents.
Thank you, George. Just to clarify for all of our vast viewing audience, CPI, is that the Consumer Price Index?
Consumer Price Index.
Thank you. Okay. So any further questions regarding this from the commission? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to extend the contract with Old Town Transfer Station for Argyle and Greenfield.
So
Have the-
Second.
Have the second. Lastly, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
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 And now I'll ask Mr. Argo Reagan and John Renzo to come to the table. They've got an issue they'd like to present to the commissioners. They'd like to have you hear their side of some changes they'd like to have made out on the Myra Road in Greenfield. I tried to give you guys a map and a small tutorial as to what we're asking for.
Yeah, we don't have that map in the,
And Mr. Argo sent in a short bullet points note, so you can see what he's going to be talking about today and what he's going to be asking for.
Here,
I know it was sent on the, I saw it on the email, but it's hard to read on the email.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. If you would kindly introduce yourselves for a vast viewing audience. That would be appreciated.
Certainly. Good morning. My name is Argo Michael Regan.
I'm John Renzo.
Good morning. Go ahead, gentlemen, and I don't know, are we still waiting on some details to be handed out, or are we set to go?
I also have a copy of my written testimony that I can hand out if anybody would like to have a formal copy of that.
And you have a copy of
Okay.
Looks like we're in order now, so please proceed.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioner Marshall, Commissioner Trumbull, Commissioner Cushing, and all the Penobscot County representatives. Thank you, UT Director Buswell, for inviting us here. My name is Argo Michael Regan. I live at 992 Myra Road in Township 32 MD, Hancock County, Maine. I am here today with my neighbor John Renzo to discuss winter maintenance and overall maintenance of the Myra Road beyond the no winter maintenance beyond this point per order Penobscot Commissioners signed. I'm sure that a lot of you are not aware, but the Myra Road, which is a county road, has become a very busy rural road the last few years. The Myra Road's roughly 5 3/4 miles long. The majority of it is dirt. The Myra Road runs from the intersection of Crocker Turn and County Road in Greenfield Township to the Stud Mill Road in Township 32. 4.6 miles of that road is in Penobscot County, and the remaining 1.07 miles is in Hancock County. The Myra Road is a heavily traveled road by many woodsmen that access the Stud Mill Road in their job sites. Many sportsmen use the Myra Road to access the many lakes and streams and hunting areas in their camps out by Nicotawis and 3rd and 5th Machias and all of those lakes. And a lot of people use the Myra Road for access of the Maine Youth Fishing Game Lodge and Pond that's located in Township 32. And there are 10 year-round residents of Township 32 that use the Myra Road primarily. Stud Mill Road can be great access many times of the year, but other times the Stud Mill Road is a really rough road to go along. The Myra Road, as small as that road is actually home to 16 year-round residences and 21 camps. There's a breakdown that I did on that bullet points. There are 4 houses on the first, 1,500 feet or so of the road that is paved, and those are all on grid. Then there are 8 houses, 11 camps on the first part of the dirt road. And then the balance 3 miles, there are 4 year-round houses and 10 camps. And those 4 year-round houses beyond the winter maintenance are all actually across the county line in Township 32. During the last 4 years, there have been many changes that have occurred out there. Several camps have changed ownership. New camp has actually been built. 6 new families have moved out there year-round to live off-grid on the Myra Road, and a new house has been built. It's essentially, in 4 years, doubled the number of year-round residences that are out there. Over the last few years, the first half of the Myra Road has had significant work completed to include ditching and resurfacing, and for that, we are certainly grateful for all the work that has been completed out there. The choice to live off-grid in remote areas is undoubtedly a personal decision and one not taken lightly or for the faint of heart. We all understand what it entails to live out there, and we certainly welcome that challenge, and we're certainly pragmatic and able to solve problems to survive out there. But I'm here today to formally request that Penobscot County maintain the Myra Road year-round to the county line. I've put a similar request in with Hancock County. I've been in discussion with them as well. I'm not sure when this topic was last discussed or even when that sign went up, but a lot of things have changed out there recently, and I just think it's time that we revisit this subject. Do realize that there's certainly an increased cost with this request, but as population has increased out there, the taxation for the unorganized townships has increased. In my property, I've taken some of my land out of tree growth. I built a house, and now the state of Maine taxes me appropriately for that. Those of us who live beyond the county line travel to Penobscot County daily to work, shop, bank, care for all of our elderly parents. We were all Penobscot County residents before moving out there, and we can still consider Penobscot County our home. And like I said, we use the Myra Road through Penobscot County to get to town. I feel that keeping the Myra Road maintained year-round is a tremendous benefit to the community. Just last year, December of 2024, there was that search and rescue mission that was completed out there for the two elderly men that were just driving out, going to see their favorite fishing spots. He got his buddy out of the veterans home. They took a ride and they ended up taking a wrong turn. And thankfully it turned out good, but the Myra Road was heavily traveled that day. But what will happen if there's another emergency out there and EMS is not able to get out the road? We're not asking for a lot of other benefits. We certainly don't want power lines and phone lines and mail service and things like that. That's why we chose to live out there. We're just hoping to ask to get some continued maintenance. I know UT Director Buswell has done a tremendous job on the Myra Road. We appreciate that. Just looking to extend where that line is. I'll let John, I think you have a couple words you'd like to say.
Yeah, I just jotted down a few more points. We realize it's not possible for what we're asking to take place immediately. As we discussed at previous meetings, certain steps must be taken before a large snowplow can be safely sent all the way to the Stud Mill Road. On the Penobscot County section, the slope on one of the hills needs to be decreased. On the Hancock County section, some ditching needs to be done, as well as a layer of gravel and a turnaround for the truck. The Penobscot County Road Commissioner and Hancock County Road Commissioner will need to work together, as they have many times in the past. We are not asking for the plowing to begin immediately, but we are asking for your approval that the process be started in the spring in preparation for future winter plowing.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Are there questions from the commission?
Yeah, I have a couple comments and questions and observations. This road right now is currently, you're plowing that at your own expense.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're proposing is this crosses both Hancock and Penobscot County, and it connects the two major roads from each county. My question is, are there any gates on these roads?
There is a gate on the Stud Mill side. So when the Stud Mill is gated, the lower end of the Myra Road at Stud Mill is gated off. There's no gate prior to that.
Who controls that gate?
AFM, American Forest Management.
And what's their position on this?
As far as the road, I have not had any conversation with them. But that road, the gate is at Stud Mill.
Is that, when is it gated in time frame?
During mud season when Stud Mill Road is closed.
When it
So,
makes sense.
yeah,
That's
so,
right.
so Stud Mill at the corner, at the four corners in Milford, there's a gate there, and then any side road that accesses the Stud Mill Road, AFM in the spring will lock those gates.
Yeah, I see two listed on this map.
Yeah.
That's why
They're actually protecting their road from damage during the mud season.
Anybody in Maine knows that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're from away, they don't understand it, but yeah, mud season, yeah, understand. Okay, that's it.
George, could I ask a question of you, please?
Go ahead.
So the road is currently owned by the two counties, is that my understanding?
It's our right of way, yes. 1.5 miles of it is Penobscot County, and just over 1 mile is Hancock County.
Okay. What is AMF's ownership of, own the actual land that we have the right of way of?
No, it's mostly private landowners.
Yeah, it's mostly private landowners out there.
Okay,
EMF is on the other side of the.
On the other side, on the Stud Mill side, yes.
okay. I just wonder, we're probably in the process, this is a side note, but gonna need to have a deed review to make sure that we have deeded right-of-way over the full length of that if we're going to proceed to take any actions on the road, won't we?
I'm sure that would be valuable information to have, but these guys hold the deeds to parts of that.
Yeah, I mean, the road is a county road. It's not a private road. It's not an easement or it's listed on the map as a county road. And AFM actually has no management rights or responsibilities on the Myra Road itself. Their gate just protects the Stud Mill Road, and it is at the Stud Mill Road, the end of the Myra Road.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
So it would be, I just see a couple of logistical things that we need to get in line, but both of you have acknowledged that this would not potentially happen this winter. I see, certainly value if we're going to have, in essence, half of that in Penobscot County. I guess we just have to have an agreement with Hancock County as to who is going to plow and how we would divide that cost up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Stud Mill Road is paved, is it not?
Stud Mill Road is not
It's
paved.
not paved, so
Hancock County also listened to the same argument from Mr. Argo a while back, and they've basically said there's nothing they can do until Penobscot County decides what they're gonna do.
Okay.
it's a collaborative effort.
It's gonna have to be. Yeah.
Agree jointly.
Is the hill that needs to be addressed within Penobscot or Hancock County?
In Penobscot County, it's called 10 Hill.
Okay.
The sign to no winter maintenance beyond this point, I wasn't here when that was made. This is my 18th winter, and that sign's been up there all the years I was here. Talking to one of the previous directors, the sign was up there, and she'd been here for 20 years, so the sign's been up there with no winter maintenance for quite a while.
How many bullets?
10 Hill was, we have had,
Surprisingly, not.
we've had to replace it. It gets stolen from time to time. But one of the reasons for discontinuing winter maintenance on that road is because of 10 Hill. And the amount of work it was gonna take to get a plow truck safely up and down that hill.
But that was before we had a knowledge that would be done all the way through, is that correct? Through Hancock and Penobscot. The hill is on our side?
The hill is on Penobscot County.
Yeah.
Yes. In that mile and a half road we don't winter
But the
maintain.
reason is because there was no guarantee that we plowed all the way through the other side, correct?
It was more for maintaining the road, period, not summer and winter. Hancock County, if we do this, Hancock County is gonna have to swallow the biggest expenses because their side of that mile of road
Yeah.
that they have is extremely poor drainage, needs a lot of work, needs gravel. The gravel's worn out on it. All they've ever done for many years now is grade it spring and fall.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of work to do before you're gonna even have room to put snow
All
off the wing of a
grading.
plow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like there's certainly a need to address this on behalf of the taxpayers. And there's a fair amount of information that probably still needs to be gathered, but I guess I would ask the commission if there is a receptivity to direct our UT director to pursue further negotiations with Hancock and gathering of the necessary information so we can determine how to approach this properly.
Yeah, Dan?
Oh, go ahead. I don't see any reason to start conversation with Hancock at this point. I'd like to get some information on what the cost of straightening out the road would be, the hill situation. And then, I've heard the presentation. I'm just struggling with, this isn't a one-time cost. This is ongoing. It's gonna increase every year. I know things have changed slightly down there, but if I was in your position, I moved in, I knew what the situation was, I moved in, for just a few people down there to have this ongoing cost of over $10,000 a year, and who knows how much it's gonna cost, it's far, I'd like to discuss it more, but I'm gonna be hard pressed to find a way to be supportive of this, so, just to be upfront about this.
I do suggest we reflect on the fact that this will be borne by the UT, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, George?
But the taxpayers in the UT, right, it's not money coming out of thin air.
Okay, so would.
Two things we need to keep in mind as well is, I know that the two gentlemen are being very patient with us on this and allowing us to do some research. We've already submitted our FY26 budget to the state for the unorganized territories. So there's no money in the budget for this to happen, at least until after that.
Right.
And then in FY26, in the spring of 26, that plow contract goes out to bid. It's up for renewal, and we've been very fortunate. It's one of the cheapest contracts that we have. And we've been very fortunate that the plow contractor lived in town. We don't know what the price is gonna be in 26 when we go back out to bid to renew that contract. And I anticipate an increase like we have with EMS and plowing and solid waste and everything else has gone up drastically.
Okay.
It's hard to come up with an estimate of what the ongoing expense would be. Say nothing about the current expense to try to get the hill so that it's safe for everybody, plow trucks, log trucks, as well as there's some soft areas out there where we didn't do winter maintenance. We've done great summer maintenance. It stands up well in the summer, but it's gonna need additional gravel and some additional ditching in some places so that it doesn't break apart in the spring like it does now.
At this point, though, is the commission comfortable with having the UT director gather that information? And George, do you anticipate there are any costs we would need to cover in the
Yeah. I think to engage Hancock County and to George, for you to try and develop a cost impact of the county for an issue ongoing.
Right, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do we need an action on this, Scott, or?
Not if you're in consensus, yeah, and I mean, that's a logical approach, so I think we're good to go, Chair.
I think we owe it to the residents who are building there that are paying taxes to the UT where this expense would ultimately come from to do our diligence. So, gentlemen, I appreciate your being here. I don't know if you have
Thank you.
any closing comments you'd like to share?
No, thank you. Just appreciate having the conversation and the discussion and see if we can come up to some kind of resolution. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Both for being here.
Thank you.
I got one last item came up late last week. I guess this is more just for your information category, if you will. I'm not looking for any guidance at this point, I don't think, but the Office of Elections in the state of Maine had contacted me last Friday, and they haven't received any results of the election in any way, shape, or form from the town of Webster. And Webster, we hire Webster to do our polling place, to be our polling place for Kingman and Prentice, so therefore we are in arrears legally on what we're supposed to report for elections. And I know that Webster is having some problems paying their county taxes. The Maine Revenue Service has some issues in Webster currently. It's, and you remember that last fall, in November, they voted not to deorganize.
Yeah.
I'm just leaving it there that somebody's gonna have to approach the AG's office or whoever at the state makes the biggest decisions on what we're gonna do with Webster. Because we're gonna go down with them if anything happens over this election.
Understood. And I'm sure that since they can get the election results on not deorganizing, somebody's keeping track of things up there. Do they
Mr.
have
Chairman?
or a first select person to your knowledge?
I've spoken to the road commissioner who gave me his daughter's number, who is the clerk, and his wife is the first selectman, the first appraiser. They're working during the day, and you can't speak to them during the day. You have to call them in the evening. And I haven't spoken to them since I talked to him today. I called the state back and told them all the contact information that he had given me, and that was the same contact information they had. The town office phone has been discontinued, and it's very difficult to communicate with anybody up there.
Understood. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Anyone else asking a question? Mr. Trumbull?
Yes, well, no, I understand we're dealing with the situation, this most recent election, but going forward, do we need to find some other group that can handle these?
That's what I'm trying to work with them on, is to find out if we can't get this taken care of, we have to have something done before this fall and take care of it then. So yes, we have to find, we're also, we're looking for a place to register cars for the town of Drew, because the town of Reed was a person, they were open Tuesdays and Thursdays, and our residents from Drew would go there to register their car. Their town manager had a stroke and is unavailable, and they're unable to register cars even for themselves. So our people are driving to Weston to get their cars registered, so I'm working with the Maine Revenue Service on trying to rein that back in and find a solution.
How far is that drive, George?
It's probably 18 miles, 16 miles, give or take. So we're working on 2 or 3 home fronts up there. I just want to let you know that the Webster thing was out there in case it comes to your attention.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. You know, these are some of the problems that we're seeing manifest themselves as the tragedy up in McGrawhawk. So we want to continue to work to find positive solutions for the citizens where we can. Thanks for working. Any further
I'll keep you
comments on
posted.
that issue?
Thank you. No, I'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks.
And further, we will move on to the EMA update from Interim Director Chris Fox. Chris.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners.
So Chair, the first item for EMA actually would be if the commissioners would honor the recommendation of the administrator and of HR to elevate Mr. Fox to EMA director. Currently, he is interim director.
And we went through a process to advertise this internally, and then there was a review done with Commissioner Marshall and some others present.
Yes.
So we are open now for discussion and a motion regarding appointment of a new EMA director.
Dan, did you have concerns? I saw that you context about.
No, I'm good.
Okay, then I'd move we accept the recommendation of the commission, of the committee to approve the interim to full-time director of our EMA.
Second?
All right, I have a motion to second to appoint Chris Fox as our new EMA director. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You gave me warning. Would have panned the camera, give me a chance to, now you can have a speech.
Congratulations, Mr.
Yes.
Director.
Thank you, Commissioners. I look forward to continuing the momentum that our department has seen over the last few years under the leadership of the previous Director, Bradley.
Appreciate your good work and your willingness to step into this role and look forward to working with you. I assume you don't have any recommendations on, building a border wall at Penobscot County.
No, that's out of my wheelhouse.
Do you have anything to update this?
Diplomatically stated.
I will provide a short update, and I'll provide this to Marion in writing after.
Yeah.
I apologize for not doing so in advance. I just wanted to update some training that we've done since January 1. Our office has facilitated 1,168 man-hours of training over 4 different courses since January 1st of this year. That broke down in a 300, ICS 300, which is an advanced incident command course where we train 30 students over 2 days, and then a ICS 400, which is for top chiefs of departments, which brought 24 different students from around the state. Previous to that, we did week-long training for sports and events risk management and an enhanced risk management. Between those 2 classes, we trained 31 students to better address their concerns for their communities.
When you say, sorry.
With these 30 students, what kind of students are we talking about here?
Sure, absolutely. So it was fire chiefs, assistant chiefs, captains in departments that are looking to potentially advance in the future. We were able to train some colleagues in emergency management, as well as the warden service. We had a good number of warden service personnel in the course for their incident management team, which was a requirement for their advancement efforts.
Sure. Not students in the classical definition.
No, not full-time students or anything like that.
That's what we wanted to know.
Right, any further questions for Mr. Fox?
That's for me.
All right. Next item is discussion of advertising for a deputy director's position.
Yes, Chair, that is correct. We recommend HR, being we, HR and myself recommend that we do both internal and external and conduct interviews and go through our typical process where we come back and we update the commission on the progress of it before finalizing any decision.
All right. Any objection to them going forward with advertising for this position?
No. Does it require action on our part?
Nope, not unless, no, if you're in consensus and there's no, okay.
Let it be done.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Anything
Thank you.
further, Chris?
No, Commissioner, thank you.
Okay, I think in light of, just a side note on my part, in light of the challenge that was faced a couple weeks ago now on EMS service, that there's going to continue to be an effort, and I certainly would appreciate it if you and your team could continue to provide help when it comes to the data that may allow them to look at EMS calls and responses, so we can provide information to help with our communities.
It would be our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Response.
Thank you.
I guess we are ready to move on to our most coveted report, the administrative report.
Wow, dripping with sarcasm just about every moment.
You're just taking that in the wrong context.
Well, yeah, well, you know, that's just, it's safer that way, yeah. Oh, so yes. So Commissioner Tremble may not be aware, but sort of like towards the end of last year, the commission agreed to setting up an education stipend fund, so the furthering education for employees. There have been a couple of questions that have come across my desk with regards to professional services development. And as always, one of the issues was, where do we fund it from? What can we find for an alternative funding source rather than, putting it additional onto the budget? So, hence in reviewing, seeing the totals of the credit card bills here over the last several months, just kind of came to me like, why don't we have like a cashback or a point system? Reached out to the bank and find out that we actually currently do, and it's already in progress. It's just something that hasn't been rediscovered yet during our growth here. So my proposal this morning is currently, I believe, and I'm looking at Finance Director Bragdon, there's right around $6,000
Yes.
as a credit on that. So it would be my proposal to the commissioners to take those savings and invest into this professional development account, but also to put a cap on that account so that it doesn't keep building. I can't recall if I put 10,000 or 15 in there,
15.
So somewhere in that nature. Again, that's certainly up to the commissioner's purview, whether as to what amount. So that's essentially my presentation this morning on that.
That was very clever. That was a very clever find and appropriate, because that money currently was just going into the general fund, correct?
No, actually, it's going nowhere. I'm not sure. I'm assuming
that money
this.
normally would go into the general fund.
Normally, I think what it would be doing is, yeah, it probably would eventually funnel to the general
We could
fund.
direct that into a specific
Yep.
thing and any excess of that would go into the general fund.
After you reach the max and it replenished to that, it would then funnel
Excellent
back to the
creative
excellent
financing.
fund. But currently, the last couple of years, I would have to say at least, it's probably, and maybe before that, because we've really ramped up the credit card process here over the last year and a half, that prior to that, I don't think it's been addressed for quite a while, that the credit has been used, so, yeah.
If I may, Scott, is this just off the county side, or is this a credit card that is used by various departments for ordering supplies and materials that the county is using on an ongoing basis?
It is, it's used by all departments. Each department has its own card, but it all accumulates into one balance, into the one program, so.
The credit aspect Or was it the one account?
Yes, that's my proposal, is a credit, rather than trying to figure out, allocate based off of the credit versus, each individual item, kind of get
Administrative headache.
into accounting when it, purchases discounts and all of that. I think this is, again, a great opportunity. If I'm gonna sell this, the best way to sell it is it's an investment into the professional development to move forward. And we don't have to put it onto the budget. I'm not so sure that it was ever addressed in the budget in the past. Being so minimal, and with the balance, it hasn't been touched for a few years now, so.
Does this require action on our part?
Yeah, it would require, yes, I'd like to have a vote, yeah.
I'd so make a move that the motion that we establish this education fund financed through the credit card reward program, payback with a cap of $15,000.
Okay, you going with the 15, okay?
Second.
So if I'm not mistaken, we already established the account in the past. What we would do today is move to transfer the funds from the credit card reserve and take it into the professional development account.
So the professional development account would be a new account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you are correct that essentially when we use these savings towards paying the bill, it's a little accounting trick, but those savings would then generate an amount into that account.
Okay.
Yep.
So you mentioned, though, that we established the professional development last year.
We had established the thought process. We hadn't really gotten to the point of how we're going to fund it.
It was last October we talked about it.
Right.
And you got
Right, I was gonna come forth with a couple other ideas, and when this came across, it seemed to be a no-brainer, so, yeah.
So just to go back then and clarify, we are establishing a professional development account with a cap of $15,000. So it would be a revolving account as opposed to an annual account?
Correct, yeah. So if we use the next 3,000 that comes through the credit card would apply to that, and then any balance would then go back to the general fund, yes.
All right. Is everyone in understanding of what we are doing? Going to establish an account and transfer the current balance of rebates from the credit cards to that account to seed in with not exceeding $15,000 on an ongoing basis.
Correct.
Do you think there's what, a little over 5,000 in it now, Scott?
Yeah,
I'm 61.
yeah. Finance Director Bragdon's saying about 61 now.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second that motion.
Okay. Just to restate it, we are establishing a professional development account and we are transferring the proceeds from our credit card rebates into that account. It will be a maximum initially of $15,000 that could be accrued before the surplus monies would return to the general fund.
Correct.
Okay. And everyone's comfortable with that motion?
Yes. Oh,
Yep.
All right, further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, thank you.
Unanimous. Okay. Anything else on the administrative updates?
No, sir.
All right, at this point, I believe we'd move on to item I, which is our approval of warrants on the consent. I would entertain a motion regarding the currently published warrants.
Move we approve the awards stipulated in agenda item I.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. At this point, is there any other further business before we entertain motions for executive session?
Yeah, Chair, real quick, I just want to remind the commission that at the next meeting, February 4th, that I'm scheduling an abatement appeal.
Right.
So it'll be at 10 o'clock. So that'll take place here. Both parties will attend here.
Now, will that take place during the commission hearing? Do we break
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be separate from,
No, we generally have operated them at 10 o'clock,
Okay,
right during the
okay.
meeting. Yeah.
Thank you.
So at this point, I see we have two items related to executive session, one confidential record, second acquisition of real property. I would entertain a motion for both of those executive sessions.
I move we go into executive section under MRSA 405 for confidential records and a second one for acquisition of real property.
Second?
You have a second?